one of the greatest honors a director can receive, aside from the Best Director Oscar, is for their film to win Best Picture. And though plenty of directors can say that about themselves, like James Cameron, Mel Gibson, and Robert Zemeckis, that number is still relatively small compared to the vast pool of directors that are out there. And there are more than a few major names that never directed a Best Picture winner. Some key ones worth mentioning are Howard Hawks, Sidney Lumet, Stanley Kubrick, Roman Polanski, Quentin Tarantino, and up until very recently, Christopher Nolan. But while the list of Best Picture winning directors is small, an even smaller list is the one of directors who directed multiple Best Picture winners. Some members of this very exclusive club are Frank Capra, Billy Wilder, Milos Forman, and Francis Ford Coppola, all of which have directed 2 Best Picture winners, with William Wyler standing alone as the only man in history to direct 3 Best Picture winners. Those are some big names, some of the greatest and most respected names in film history. But you know who really should be a part of this clique, but isn't? Steven Spielberg. Yep, Steven Spielberg, to this day, has directed only 1 Best Picture winning film, that being Schindler's List. But if you ask me, he should have been a Best Picture winning director long before 1993. I believe the Academy should have awarded one of his films the Best Picture award sometime during his peak years in the late 70s and early 80s, with Raiders of the Lost Ark and E.T. being, in my opinion, the best 2 opportunities to have done it, due to lack of any meaningful competition. No offense to Chariots of Fire and Gandhi, but come on. But even if you include these missed opportunities, one moment trumps them all. The biggest missed opportunity to award this most deserving director a second Best Picture winner came at the 71st Academy Awards ceremony with the film Saving Private Ryan. It was easily the most impressive, powerful, and deserving of the bunch to win the award that year. Spielberg even won his second Best Directing Oscar the same night, and when Harrison Ford walked up to present Best Picture, we all knew that Indiana Jones himself was gonna give his director the award he so rightfully...
Shakespeare in Love.
It's Shakespeare in Love. The Shakespeare in Love one. Shakespeare in Love beat Saving Private Ryan for the Best Picture award.
That's great! That's just great!
So, instead of Spielberg being a multiple-time Best Picture winning director, we made room for John Madden. Who the hell is that? I've never seen or even heard of any of his films except Shakespeare in Love, which is a decent film. I mean, it's okay, but it's nowhere near as good as Saving Private Ryan is. And that's coming from a man who doesn't love the film as much as others do, and I still think it's way superior. So why did Shakespeare beat Spielberg? Well, we all know why. It's because of Harvey Weinstein's ruthless campaigning. I can't think of any other legitimate reason. This man should have been in a jail cell long before Me Too, if you catch my drift. There were a bunch of big snubs during the Academy's history, but that snub should be labeled as a crime, okay? Shakespeare in Love really has no business being amongst Best Picture royalty, in my opinion. But today, we're gonna talk about it. That's life. Shakespeare in Love is a period drama/romantic comedy starring Gwyneth Paltrow and Joseph Fiennes, as well as many others, and it tells a fictional story about how William Shakespeare used a real-life romance of his as the basis of his latest and greatest play, Romeo and Juliet. And that really is the basic gist of the film in terms of the plot. And I don't really have much else to say about it. It's one of the most nothing burger Best Pictures ever. There's nothing inherently wrong with the film, other than the fact that there's nothing inherently good about it either. For a comedy, it's not that funny. For a period piece, other than the costumes, which were pretty good, it's one of the least impressive I've seen in terms of visuals. The sets look cheap, the cinematography was bland, and the color palette wasn't the most flattering. There were also a bunch of strange and random moments in the film that kinda took me out of it, like the weird sword fight out of nowhere, and the scene where William dresses like a woman for no reason. I did find it kind of funny that Colin Firth was once again typecast as the man who loses his woman to the main character who is portrayed by a Fiennes. Very specific criteria right there, but hey, he did it twice, and both times the films won Best Picture, so he must be doing something right. So that's pretty cool, but honestly, as a whole, there's just nothing too interesting or special about this film. The only element of the film that does actually stand out is the romance. Holy cow, these people are obsessed with one another. They keep thinking and musing about one another. They keep trying to get together all the time. And when they do, they're like a couple of horny bunnies. They can't keep their paws off of each other. On one hand, their chemistry is pretty good and they're kinda sweet together, but on the other hand, as I said before, it borders on obsession and that kinda creeps me out. But that's just me, and overall, I think the romance is one of the stronger elements of the film. Another strong element is the acting. All the actors do a good job, especially Gwyneth Paltrow, who delivers a great performance, and I do think she deserved her Oscar for Best Actress. The dialogue in the film is very Shakespearean and poetic, as you would expect, but unlike in Hamlet, I actually understood what the characters were saying here, which is a good thing. There's a lot of poetry in this film, so if you're a poetry junkie, you're gonna really enjoy this one. Unfortunately, I'm not a poetry junkie, so even with the good parts, I didn't really enjoy this film. I'm absolutely convinced that the only reason Shakespeare in Love is even remotely relevant today is because it won Best Picture and no other reason. And that's not a good sign for your film, if you ask me. At the end of the day, I don't think it should have won. I don't think it's very good, and I don't think I'm gonna remember this one further down the road. Oh Paltrow, Paltrow, wherefore art thou Paltrow? She's fairly low on the list, and it's not a big surprise. If Saving Private Ryan was the winner, it might have even entered the top 20, but it wasn't, so here we are. This won't be the first or last time the Academy screws up, but this one might be the biggest screw-up of the lot. Up next is the 72nd Best Picture winner, Sam Mendes' directorial debut, American Beauty. Yep, it's his first film, and it already won Best Picture. Talk about peaking early. Check back again for the next video of DB Reviews Oscar Madness Marathon and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss a thing. Thank you all very much, and let the journey continue.